Hi, my name is Don Debelak and you have reached the online training introductory video for the series of trainings titled Before You Spend Big Money. This video series is targeted at people who have an idea but are not sure if they want to pursue it just yet. The video series is designed to help you evaluate your idea, not in terms of is this a good idea or not, but rather is there a strong possibility that the idea could make money for you, the inventor. One of the free resources on the One Stop Invention site are the inventor stories. I highly recommend you look at these stories to get a flavor for what the process of commercializing an invention is like. I wrote these stories in the early 2000s for Entrepreneur magazine. Recently I went back and researched the progress of each inventor, and many of these inventors have had great success. On the opening page of our website there is a search box. If you put in a short term, such as private label, you will get some of the other stories most appropriate to the search term to come up. Who the seminar targets. As I mentioned earlier, this training seminar is for people who are starting out with an idea, but is more than just for an evaluation only. It also helps you create the right product that has the best chance of success. Often knowing how to configure your product for success will help you a great deal. All of our training series offers an introductory course with an overview of the topic and then follow-up seminars for each go into greater detail about the topic itself. This is an overview of this presentation with further explanation of each topic coming up in the training. The different series that we have in our training course are called Creating an Introduction Plan. So once you decide to go ahead, you need a plan on how you're going to make money. Another series is on you already have a product. I know many of the inventors that come to us already have a product. Some of them have it developed and some of it have it manufactured. So if you already have a product, what are the steps you should follow from then on? A third one of our series is Pumping Up Sales, which is really geared towards all the inventors. You're in the market, you're trying to do something with your product. How do you get sales up? How do you get a beachhead? How do you start having a success and making money? And the fourth series is called Going Forward, Preparing for Sales. This is once you've got a invention introduction plan, how do you go forward and prepare for sales and really get your product off and running. Now in all of our series, the first training in each series is free, and the remaining 5 to 12 presentations per series are available for members of our who have taken advantage of our $9 per month membership plan. So we're starting out with before you spend money is what you want to know. What do you really need to know before you start going ahead and spending money? One is, are small companies successful in the industry? Now some industries such as scrapbooking or bicycles or kitchen products have a lot of small companies who start out and are successful. Other industries, it's much harder. Hardware products are a little bit harder, but it's selling to mass merchants or promotional products can be more difficult. So you really want to understand what if you're going into an industry that favors small inventors or not. Now that does not mean that small companies don't succeed in every industry. They do, but the odds of success are better in an industry that's really favorable to small companies. Is there a distribution channel open to you? Now, a distribution channel is just how you get your product to market. Some products have distribution channels that favor small inventors, such as convenience stores or kitchen stores or bicycle shops. Stores with a specialized industry with a lot of small stores is usually a better starting point for inventors. Now, a lot of inventors want to actually license their product rather than sell it themselves or private label it. So if you're going to license a product, though, you need significant amounts of innovation. You need to take a look at the industry and see what type of innovation has been required for other licensees. Another important characteristics for starting out is, can you get the support for making a prototype? Now again, this calls for innovation. Basically what happens is prototypes can be very expensive, especially when you make multiple ones. And the inventor doesn't want to actually spend all that money themselves, but they want to get some other people more experienced in the industry to help them. Another important characteristics is, can your product be sold for 4 to 5 times its cost of production? When you're going into an invention, what happens is the distribution channel takes about half the money. You have sales reps you might have and other distribution costs. And if you can price your product 4 to 5 times above the product production cost, you'll never make money. And of course, another consideration that you want to do before you start out is, can you afford the upfront cost? Now, every one of these items, there's ways around it, ways to solve it that we go into in our depth course. But basically, you don't want to go within a product where you're just going to run into a dead end. So you need to understand the industry, make a plan, know how to get around it, and how to actually make your product work. When you read the inventor stories, you'll find that most of the inventors ran into obstacles about money, or ran into obstacles that would slow them up, but then they found ways to get around those obstacles, and that's really what you need to learn how to do. Are small companies successful in the industry? Of course, it's a good starting point. Just put into the market that you want and put it into the search term in our site, and you might get some of the invention stories to come up that are on the website. You can also find successful inventors in the industry that you're targeting by really going to trade shows or by reading trade magazines. Everybody needs to really start in their industry by locating their trade magazines for that industry. So if you go and do a Google search and you say, for example, kitchen store trade magazines, you'll get some of those trade magazines to come up. You want to start looking at those trade magazines all the time. First of all, because they have stories about, and some of those stories might be about inventors, but more importantly, they'll start publicizing the big industry trade shows. Now, those trade shows, I cannot tell you that there is a better investment for a new inventor than to go to a trade show. You're going to find the big companies, of course, but you'll also find a lot of small booths. You'll also find those small booths that are have as a representative sales reps who you might want to contact to sell your product later on. You'll find inventors in those sales booths. You'll find small company marketers, all of who probably will give you advice or help you out as long as you're talking to them when they're not busy. Once you start getting a network of people at trade shows in the industry that you can talk to, you can also find out about people who've been successful at licensing their product. You can find out about partnerships, joint ventures, and acquisitions, and most importantly, you'll get a copy from the trade magazine or the trade show, an industry product directory. These are people in the industry. You can find the smaller companies, you can find inventor-related companies, and you can call people up and ask them for advice. Is our distribution channel open to you? Distribution channel, what does that mean? It's actually how you get your product to market. So for instance, you might be using sales reps, you might be selling direct, you might be using distributors, you might have a two-channel distribution process like you get in a convenience store outlet, but just how the product is going to market. Now, some of those channels, for instance, really large distributors are not really open to inventors. It's too hard to get your product in, and they expect you to do all the work marketing and advertising it. But there are other channels open. You can talk to, if you go to the trade show, if you can make contacts in the industry, you'll find out which channels are more open to inventors than others. Again, the trade show, trade magazines, understanding how the industry works, understanding what distribution channels are available, understanding what the pricing structures through those. These are all important tactics for an inventor to know before they really start spending a lot of money on their channels. You're going to find that the industry has several channels. You want to understand all of them. You want to understand their costs, their openness, and the margins or discounts, if you will, throughout the channel. For example, if you sell to a convenience store rack jobber, you're going to sell for about a price. You're going to sell the industry rack jobber. The industry rack jobber will mark their price up about 40% over your product, and then when the rack jobber puts it in his convenience store, they're going to mark it up another 40%. So you're actually only going to get like 30 to 35% of the final suggested retail price. You have to understand this so that you can know what your pricing has to be and what your manufacturing cost has to be. Try to make a list of all the distribution channels that the other smaller companies are using. I think that's really instructive for you and how you can go ahead. Does your product have the innovation needed to get a license? Everybody thinks their product can get a license, but in reality, it's a very tough road to hoe. Most licenses are from companies and inventors who already have a prototype, who've already made their product, and actually have already sold it. So if you're going to move back and just try to get a license off of prototype, you need a strikingly innovative design or a very different production process. You need a strong patent, and you have to have a clear path to market. What that means, clear path to market, is the manufacturer has to see your product and see exactly where it fits in, how it's going to sell, where it fits into the distribution channel. Now, you can talk about potential, which is easy to show potential licensors, but actually they're really not interested in just potential that's in a paper report. They're interested in potential that you've shown by contacting users, contacting distributors, and getting the product out. Now, one of the things about a license, and this is one of the ways inventors fall down, is what I call feature creep. So you're going out to the market, you're talking to people, and they all say, oh, wouldn't it be nice if you had this? Oh, wouldn't you nice if you had that? And the fact of the matter is, inventors start acting these in which I call feature creep, because what that does is it makes the product, takes it from its simple, very purposeful design, adds features that detract from that, plus it adds cost. Adding cost to an invention just puts you out of range when you get to that rule about is your invention can it be sold for 4 to 5 times its cost. Now, the prototypes is a major stumbling block for a lot of inventors because it costs a lot. It costs a lot to make the prototype, and basically you're going to take a prototype, you're going to put it out for market test, or you're going to take it out there for durability testing and just make sure it works right. And invariably there's problems, and you have to go back and make the prototype several times. But you still need that prototype because you need that proof of testing. You need a prototype because it's hard to get investors without one. But so it's costly and it's a danger zone, but there are many people willing to help the prototypes with the right incentives. You have designers, you have other inventors with experience, you have manufacturers who want to get a chance to build your product for you, and some of the other upcoming training sessions talk about how to really line those people up. So don't consider it an obstacle, but consider that how much money you need and that you're going to have to take steps to line up help for your prototype before you move ahead. What you really have to watch out for in prototypes is self-funding, because prototypes can be a bottomless pit. You definitely don't want to be a cash cow for another company, and so we'll show you ways that you can actually cut those costs and get somebody else involved and absorb some of the risk. Can your product be sold for 4 to 5 times its cost of production? I went over this a little bit earlier, that really you have a lot of costs coming out of your product, and if you can't have 4 to 5 times the product cost, you're going to find you don't make money. So most inventors don't understand the industry markups, but as I said, if you go to those trade shows, talk to those people, start talking to manufacturers reps, you're going to get a feel for what the industry really is like and what the costs are, both for the distribution channel and for the industry in general. So to get accurate costs, though, you really are going to have to talk to a manufacturer, show your design, and actually get a cost. The most common way of finding manufacturers in your area with your production process is the Thomas Registry. You can just do an internet search on the Google search for autonomous registry or internet search, and you'll come up with a variety of manufacturers that are in your area that you can actually use to find a cost. One of the resources you check out first, though, is SCORE, which is a society, a group of government, or a group sponsored by the government of retired executives who help inventors and small businesses for free. Go to their website and just put in there to get your local SCORE and go meet with them. Very frequently, they have people who are retired with manufacturing backgrounds who can really help you decide how to make your product, what kind of manufacturers will make the product, and help you prepare a package so that you can get an accurate quote. Now, don't shortchange this step. I have found that many inventors who go forward end up with a product that costs too much for them to make money. So they spend all this time and all this energy on getting their product out. The product could even be successful, but it has to be successful at a certain price, and their cost of manufacturing doesn't allow them to sell it at that price. And then the inventors just wasted a lot of money and time and energy in a product that could never make money. So be sure to check your cost of production. The next step you really have is your upfront cost. Again, these can be very high. Patents, prototypes, startup costs, you have tooling, you have also your operating capital. All these really can get quite high. And don't inventory, just to give you an idea of the cost of capital, you might be buying your inventory in month 1 and not collecting for your final product till month 6. And how is your company going to keep operating? How are you going to keep building products during that period? But again, SCORE, for your operating cash, you need to understand what it will be. SCORE, again, can be a big help. And you can also check out your local small business development centers, which you can find at this website up there. And those people really can help you figure out your cost of capital. They can help you figure out an operating plan and a financial plan to get some idea of the cost. Again, your upfront cost, it sounds very ornery, but there's a lot of ways to get other people to pay for it, a lot of ways to get investors, get manufacturers who will absorb some of the cost, and some of your distribution partners might absorb the cost. Again, these are other areas that we can go into later in the training, but the important point is that you understand what your cost will be, you have a plan for covering those costs, and you make some determination of whether you can get that help or not before you start spending a lot of money on your idea. Now, if you want to learn more about some of these topics, one is the inventor stories. They're free. Each story is about 1,000 words, and they really go into steps to success and lessons learned. I can't stress hard enough how important it might be for you to look through those stories and to do some searches on topics of interest. I also have quite a few invention-related books. I've written 8 books, and most of which are available on Amazon, at least as an ebook. You can also review our next step training videos, which are available on the membership plan for $9 a month. They go into quite a bit more details. We also have a $20 per month plan, which features 2 one-on-one consulting sessions through the year, plus we answer emails, questions. Plus, you get all members in either one of the plan get a 25% discount on our services. You might, if you're ready to move ahead now, you can actually check out our services. One is our patents, which is a little detailed on the next slide. We also do product evaluations, $350 each. And our website has more details, but these is a professional evaluation to tell you what obstacles you might encounter, what the good and bad points about your invention are. And again, it's not saying the invention is good or bad, but it really talks about whether or not this is an invention that has a ready-made distribution channel, good cost, and good margins so that you have a good chance to make money. For patent searches, I always recommend people do a patent search. Now, you can do a lot of this patent searching yourself. Google Patents is a very good site to go to where you can just put in a search term and they'll bring up patents that are somewhat related. And when you're looking at patents and you find the Google patent search comes out, you'll find 2 sections in that patent search. One is a term called reference by, which means patents that have come after this one, which reference this patent as prior art. And you'll also see patents that are referenced um, by the patent that list patents that were come previously. Check out those patent titles and look at those patents. That's a good way to find the patents that are more relevant, because the patent searches are somewhat limited in that they go by a specific search term, and sometimes patents that are referenced, that really are often referenced by the patent examiner as relevant, won't come up with your search terms, but you will see them in the reference by sections. We at One Stop Invention Stop Awful, Don Debelak is a patent agent. We do our own patent searches too, and those cost $375. You might also get a patent search done by your own patent attorney. If you utility patents, there's several options here. You can use your own patent attorney, which is local and you can go meet with. You can also get a copy of David Pressman's book, Patent It Yourself, which is really updated frequently and is a very good book if you want to go through and do your own patent and save the money. And One Stop Invention Shop also offers patenting services. Provisional patents, people ask me about this. This allows you to say patent pending. It's a lower cost option. It does not cover a patent, and but it counts as a priority date. The U.S. Patent Office is on a first to patent system now, rather than a first to file a patent, rather than a first to invent. So you want a priority date on when you came up with your idea, and the provisional patent gives you that. Patent attorneys, patent agents can do them. You can also do them yourself if you use a book like Patent It Yourself by David Pressman. They're not that onerous, and One Stop Invention Shop also offers provisional patents.